Love and Marriage Huntsville, y'all did it again. It was the end of this episode. You gotta watch the playback, y'all. You have got to watch the playback of the last 5 minutes. I don't know what y'all been doing these past couple of episodes in these, last like couple of minutes, but I'm gonna point it out to you first before we get into it. I want you to notice, A, Leticia ran from that house, but she kept that bottle in her hand. Did y'all notice that? I was like, she said, you know what? I was serious when I said you was not keeping this bottle. I'm not celebrating you. You're not getting no more of this alcohol. I'm taking this good. I actually might have to pull over someplace and have a sip. Now, listen, I'm sure she was not drinking and driving. I'm just saying that the argumentation got so heated that she took alcohol with her. And then I kept saying, is somebody else screaming in this episode? But when I played it back, because I had to keep rewinding it, what they did was every time either Leticia or Destiny said a curse word, they added an extra scream to the mix. So when you hear this, it's almost like the squawking is like it's like double squawking. I mean, I ain't saying that the two of them are squawking at each other, but they kind of are. I mean, they are guttural yelling at each other in this scene. And I kept thinking to myself, God, it just sounds like it gets extra guttural at times. And then I realized that was a sound effect because they had to cover up the curse word for the viewing audience. I said, you know what, y'all smart. Y'all didn't hit the bleep button. Y'all, whoever edited that, oh, use a good one. Use a good one. Cause I caught that thing too. Cause sometimes I gotta analyze things and I'm like, wait a second, now, what was that I heard? Why she take that look about a while? And so this review is gonna be very, very interesting. Now, I don't know what's honestly, doesn't matter what episode we're on, we're still in the same season. So the episode is I think it's number 23. Now y'all, it's called Quilting Me Softly. I think that's because Trish and her good friend Sharon was at the quilting spot wherein the quilting whatever what do people the sewing machines was up to here, okay? I was so annoyed as I was watching the scene because I'm looking at them behind the sewing machine and this is all I see, the two of them talking to each other. And so, I thought to myself last week, I said, oh goodness, thank God I didn't have to see no more Trish and Ken in the last episode. And back again. And it's not the two of them that independently that I'm annoyed by. It is the two of them together that I'm annoyed by. And let me express to you why. Okay. We have been watching the two of them uncouple for a very long time. Okay. It seems like all year long. And I think what would be a bit more interesting is if one or the other was a bit more here, and I hate to say it like this, but neither one of them are that dramatic in the sense of what we see on camera. Trish is very stoic. And so you don't ever get the sense that even like Ken says, I mean, and I'm not on either person's side in this, but I am saying that girl, you give us nothing. Like it's like, are you upset or no? And while for some of you guys may think, well, he don't deserve her tears. That's not what I mean. What I mean by that is when I watch a reality TV show, I am actually watching because I want to see some people who are reacting to things. I mean, it just ups the level of entertainment. And I know people are gonna say, well, maybe she shouldn't. I mean, everybody not like that. Okay, well then you probably shouldn't be on TV. Okay. And there I said it, okay? As painful as it is for me to say, as much as I actually like her as a person, I don't know her, but I don't dislike her. It's just that she gives very little in the way of antics, dramatics, or much of anything, right? So I've got to have something. You got to be entertaining to me in some way, shape, or form. And it cannot be the push pull, give take, is you, aren't you of this relationship. Because quite frankly, neither one of you are that dramatic to keep pulling me in like this. Okay. So what I need for y'all to do is go ahead, straight up uncouple, and let's wrap this. It's like taking the band-aid off of a wound very, very slowly. And I don't care how many conversations we have with Sharon or Will, nothing will save me from being unamused by any of this. I am so sorry that it did not work for either one of y'all, but it sounds like you guys need to just part ways and keep it pushing. As a matter of fact, I'm actually more interested right now in Will and Sharon. I am. I want to know what is going on with Sharon. Like, who is she? I mean, she has very strong opinions. I feel like she is willing to get in there, right? Because the thing about Latricia is she doesn't get in there with the rest of the ladies. Like, she's not in there, right? I feel like the introduction of Sharon in a more full capacity would maybe force some conversations and force some interesting things, but I don't know enough about Sharon. I don't know what she does. I don't, can she move the crowd, right? I don't know, but she's moving me more than Trish is because Trish doesn't really show me much. And I think that is because she is kind of, maybe that's just her way of coping, is holding it all in, but that doesn't work for a reality TV show, my love, and I'm sorry. Ken, to me, is a bit too indecisive. Okay. Now, for me to keep watching it like this. So he's dating someone new. She's in the healthcare field. She is allegedly softer, more feminine than Trish, which I could go down an entire rabbit hole about why maybe Trish doesn't have those soft edges. And it's, I would wager to think that there's been a lot that she's had to actually deal with. So someone at what she's experienced will not maybe have soft edges for you, and you should know because you knew what she was going through when you got with her. Okay. So I don't know if you were thinking that you would soften those edges, but at the end of the day, like maybe, okay, so go with this lady, this new lady. Okay. And just leave the past alone. But he's so, and they're both so wishy washy. They're asking each other, are you dating other people or you're not? They done moved out, moved in. I don't care. Okay. At this point, just go. Just go. Okay. Just go. All right. I want to know what's going on with Will in this barbershop and that's members only. You know, Will come in the scene. I'm like, man, you got the allergies or something? Why are you crying? It looked like his eyes was watering. You know, maybe the pollen count was high that day. I don't really know. He looked like he just came from the after hours place and was like, man, we turned it up last night, and I got to do this scene with my man right here. And again, all of this to me now, granted, he kind of has some caveman-like ways to him too. You know, with how with base from the little bit I've seen of him talk about, you know, like the women, even Destiny. He kind of got some caveman ways in a sense, but he seems more firm in his stances than Ken, which to me makes for more interesting TV, right? And I was like, is there a little bling in his muscle? He got a little bling, a little there looked like there was a little bling right here in the muscle. I was like, what? You know, I've been noticing the little things. I was like, how does that stay there when you wash? You know what I'm saying? Like when you like got to get the scrubbing and stuff, I feel like that would get. That's why I took my nose ring out. When I'm washing my face, the last thing I can't. Ooh, you know, snag the nose ring. So you know what I said? You got to go. I got to wash my face in peace, baby. I'm tired. All right, I'm tired. Anyway, I think I beat that horse quite a bit. So the main stories in this, right, outside of those, are Destiny has a conversation with Kimmy. Kimmy needs some paperwork, and she's been calling Destiny all night trying to get some things done. because Kimmy is about her business, and Kimmy gives me more type A personality in terms of her business, and I'm not mad at it at all. I'm working to get myself to be type A as well. I just wish that there was a personality switch I could just turn on and be type A, but I'm really not. I'm very much type B, very relaxed, very um, what's on the schedule today? Okay, I'll be there for the schedule. But somebody else, can you manage the schedule for me? Because I really can't be bothered. Um, that's my personality. I hate to say it. So anyway, she's calling and calling Destiny, trying to get this paperwork. Destiny already annoyed with the girl because I feel like Destiny feel like Leticia and Kimmy are one person. That's what I feel like. I mean, I didn't mean to say it out loud like that, but that's how I feel. And I mean, obviously they're two different people, but I think that Destiny and not Kimmy and Leticia are just in alignment because they are sisters-in-law, and I just don't think that they want to go ever back down the road again of being in a bad space with each other. So I don't think, and I don't. So as Destiny is sort of joking with, I took it as a joke, but I also sense some real annoyance there with regards to when Kimmy brings up Destiny and Leticia and if they're okay or not. And Destiny's like, well, I feel like she got friendship Tourette's. Like, one minute they'll be fine, and the next minute, like, I got a problem with you, you know? And I'm gonna get into their actual issue in a second, but well, my perception of their issue, because I'm not there. I'm not really in it. So who knows, right? But I'm gonna tell you what I see based on the TV screen, and we'll go from there. There's also there's an interesting situation that's happening, I think, with regards to how seriously they are taking Destiny as a realtor, perhaps, or sort of the hierarchy of where they all are in their careers as it relates to each other as well as with her. That's just a general sense, but I could be wrong. Okay, I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Because there's a lot of real estate on the show. A lot of people that's been in real estate for a long time in varying levels, brokers, title companies, all of the things. So, you know, eh, I'm always in amazement of how much business is being done on the show. And I have to really give the people props because, it just sounds like a lot of paperwork and things. So, these are things that I just, oh God, that stresses me out. But anyway, so as Destiny is saying this, I'm like, girl, you do know she's gonna go right back and tell Tisha, right? And sure enough, she does. But we don't. The problem that I have, or the problem that is created, is that we don't know the details of how this story was relayed to Tisha. But it was clearly relayed to her in a way that revved up her engine. Okay. So when we find out that Leticia has been told by Kimmy about this conversation, it is as though Destiny is joking about her, which seems to bring up some level of insecurity with Tisha. I don't want to say insecurity. I think that's but I think it brings up some residual feelings that Leticia has been maybe holding on to that we'll investigate in a second. Okay. So as she's doing this, though, you know, Marceau tells her, well, I too had it out. I mean, well, he jokes, he's kind of like, well, you basically said you ain't trust that hoe. So why are you expecting her to do anything? Why are you expecting Destiny to be anything different than the place you already put her? Which is also kind of interesting, but I understand where Leticia was basically saying. I mean, even though when she called Destiny a hoe, because that will come back up, um, it I sensed that in that moment she was joking, but I felt like there was a little bit of passive aggressiveness because I think that there was a little bit of truth behind it. And I think that that is an underlying issue that Destiny and Leticia both share, is a slight propensity to be passive aggressive with each other when they really do feel some type of way about something with each other, right? I think that there's genuine love there because clearly it will come up, the ways that they feel like they've been there for each other, but mm, let's just discuss it then, okay? In the meantime, though, Marceau reveals that he's had a come to Jesus with Chris, and he was interrogating Chris because he felt like he should. And Letitia felt just like I felt like, who are you to question him? Right. And I'm so glad Letitia said it in the moment because at the end of the day, it was like, she right. She right. You don't have y'all ain't had no paperwork signed together. So y'all ain't had no official business together. So why are you questioning him? And Marcel's like, "Aren't you supposed to be taking my side?" And she's like, "No." And I'm so proud that she did not because it was like, girl, I like that. I like seeing that there's a okay, no, I don't agree with that. And tell it like it is. Nell will say something like that later about Chris as well. And I like that they both have that stance. And that's something that they actually both share in common. Interesting enough. So the conversation then moves to Destiny and Miss Nell having a conversation because Miss Nell has been going through and through and through and through and through with all them kids, with Chris and his license, with the girls, with life in general. And then it's come to find out she's opening a store. I'm like, ma'am, maybe listen. I cannot hate on somebody for being ambitious, but good lord, maybe slow it down. And I hate to say that because I don't ever want to feel like I'm telling somebody not to go after their dreams and whatnot. But girl, you was already on the verge. You sound like you are on the edge. You want to add one more thing to the list? You want to add a store too? I mean, my God, today, and I get it. Listen, that's how y'all grow, and that's how you get bigger business. You got to take bigger and bigger swings. But my God, today, if you're coming apart at the seams, and nobody is helping you, I just don't know. Okay. But I'm sure it'll be super successful because these people seem to know what they're doing. And I am literally merely a watcher, a viewer from afar. Okay. So Destiny takes Nell down to the get your toxicity out your feet place. And so Miss Nell actually didn't want to do it because I think she might have been afraid of how much toxicity was actually going to come up out of there. And I'm like, ma'am, you probably do need to be there. Okay. Let them get soaked all that stuff about your feet. So they talk, and, it's revealed that Marceau and Chris had a conversation, and Miss Nell does feel like, Chris is a pillar of the community. And then it is revealed also, too, that Letitia had a conversation with Miss Nell. Oh, yes, because Letitia has realized that Miss Nell is going through and through and coming apart at the seams. Now, for Destiny, this is an interesting point because this has been the point that she has been trying to relay to Tisha for, I don't know, since the beginning of the season, since episode 1, I would guess, right? Of this season, which premiered a year ago. Yeah. My God, today we are still in the same season. Why is this? This can never happen again. Okay. This can never happen again. All right? I don't care what y'all need to do, but this can never happen again. I barely know what year it is based on this season. Okay. I still think I'm in 2025 because of the season. Okay, so Destiny's a little annoyed because she's like, I have been trying to work to get Letitia to soften her stance with Miss Nell because I know what she's going through. And it is not that I'm defending one over the other, it is that I just want her to take a softer stance with her because there is something that's happening there. That's why Nell has been so reactive. Which leads me to the situation with with Letitia and Destiny and their argument at Destiny's open house. Now the open house is actually the broker's open house, and Destiny is allegedly sitting for that meaning as a newer agent, she is there to manage the open house in lieu of the broker, but it is not indeed Destiny's listing per se. That's what I'm getting from this. And so Leticia is confused because she's like, I thought this was your listing, but it actually says your broker's thing on the outside. I brought you some drinky drink over here, but because I thought we were celebrating you. And if we're not going to be celebrating you, we're celebrating your broker. I don't really need to be celebrating you with this bottle. Hence, when I am arguing with you later, I will take it with me and you shall not have liquor. Okay. I will leave you traumatized and I will take my liquor too. Meanwhile, Leticia has a bone to pick because she is tired. Okay. And this is, I think, the true issue with both Destiny and Leticia. Throughout the history of this show, and I'm just going to be very real with you guys, what I think has happened is you have Leticia who has probably felt um like the butt of a mini joke, right? From things that Marceau says and does that she has to answer for, the things that Miss Wanda has maybe said or did that she had to answer for, to people presuming that she is a villainous mastermind, right? Or not recognizing her strength, intelligence, and all of those things. I think that potentially that has resulted in some level of, and I'm not a psychologist or a psychologist, but some level of reality TV PTSD, right? And so I think that in coming into these new seasons, the Leticia that you see is very different from the Leticia who started this show. And my general sense is that now the Leticia that you see is unwilling to take any crap from anybody, more likely to take some crap from her husband because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's still the person that you have to sleep with every night, and so you kinda have to, like, how much I gotta probably take a little bit more of they crap because, I mean, listen, we gotta have this happy home life, right? I really can't be bothered. I gotta see you every night, but I ain't gotta see y'all every night or every day, actually, and so y'all cut up if you want to, and I'll cut you with my words, right? I assume, in my opinion, that is what we have been seeing with Leticia, which is why we see her so reactive to sometimes things that seem very slight, right? It's like, I ain't taking no slack from nobody. I'm tired. I'm tired. I've been putting up with this stuff for too long. Whereas, like, a Miss Nell is just tired, okay? She ain't been putting up with it for too long. She just can't take no more of nothing because she's been pulled like a rubber band 5 ways from Sunday. Okay. Now, Destiny, on the other hand, my general sense is, and I could be wrong, okay, is that she too is at an interesting space in her life where Destiny has, I think, and this is has gone through it on this show as well, through the ups and downs and behind the scenes. And my other sense is that now she's in a space where she's trying not to be so reactive, but is still a little reactive because do sense still some level of passive aggressiveness, even though she might not be able to see it. It's still there. And I would just honestly rather Destiny be aggressive because to me that's just better reality TV, right? It's going to mean that a lot of people don't like you as they have not liked her in the past, but I prefer my reality TV personalities more on the aggressive side and less on the peaceful side because that's not what I'm watching this for. Okay? Yes, be peaceful when it's time to have a party and have a good time, but be upfront and be aggressive when it's time to be when disrespected, right? So I think what you have is these two people who have a bit of reality TV PTSD coming into this friendship situation right now, not taking any one is not taking no cuts, no shorts like they used to say in the back in the day from anybody. And then you have somebody else who is working to maintain their level of aggression, not aggression, because people take that word the wrong way, and for me, I don't take aggressive in a bad way. It don't mean nothing to me. right? I understand that it's a trigger word sometimes for women because there is this stigma of being the angry black woman. I guess I don't see it. I don't. It's not that I don't see it. I don't view it the same way because I be feeling like as a black man, I got a lot to be angry about sometimes, you know. So you can look at me and I have to, and on a real level, I actually have to. I've learned over the years that I kind of pull back on my entire personality or my entire presence when I'm first meeting people because I am a 6'3" black man with a beard and tattoos. And I once had somebody in when I was in LA, I was having a meeting with someone and they worked for an agency and they told me, and I will never forget this, because I had done a reality TV show and I wanted to still work in news. He told me I would never be hired at a news studio because of my work, because I had done reality TV and taken off my clothes on the show. I did a show called Strip. Y'all, most of y'all know that. But he also told me that I look like a terrorist because of my beard. So, do you know a couple of days later, I actually trimmed down my beard. It was like the worst decision I ever made. I regretted that so much. And I said, you know what? I don't care. I will never listen to somebody who tells me to change my identity ever again. But in some way, shape, or form, there are remnants of that that still linger in my mind. So I always have to watch my positioning with people because I don't want them to think that I am threatening, right? Because outside of what you guys see me as, when I meet somebody that I don't know, or when I'm around certain types of people, I just have to kind of like feel like I have to soften my demeanor. So anyway, I went down a whole rabbit hole right now, and really, it's not about me. Who cares? Who cares about any of that stuff with me? But back to the two of them, I do feel like that they both have some level of that PTSD, and it's coming out right now, right? And so Leticia is gonna it to me feels like, well, you didn't have my back and now you're making fun of me. And when the key the thing that let me know that she felt like this was she said, F all of y'all. She said something about making fun of her and then F all of y'all. And that's when I realized this wasn't just about Destiny. This is about more than that. And I don't think Destiny was realizing it, or maybe she was realizing it in that moment. But I think what Destiny was maybe trying to say was, I'm not in that equation, girl. I'm not those people. I am your friend that is also reacting to how you are reacting to me. But I don't always think that Destiny does a good job of relaying that to Tisha in a way that Tisha can hear, because I think Destiny is also a bit defensive with Tisha because of this this thing that they're both experiencing. Um and a bit of miscommunication, right? So again, the context for how this information was relayed back to Tisha matters, but we didn't see it. Okay. So, um, you know, that could have been a choice, right? Because we're left to rely on Tisha's word of how it was conveyed, and it sounds like it was conveyed by Kimmy in maybe a messier way. But Destiny's like, well, girl, I knew who I was talking to. I knew she was gonna come back and tell you, so I already knew that it was gonna get back to you. I just don't think that Destiny knew it was gonna make her this mad. Okay. So as they're sitting there talking, I mean, the conversation is going left and left, more left, left, left. Oh, okay, we have left the house almost, and actually, we do leave the house, but not before the screaming starts. Now, let me tell you something. At first, I thought they can they navigate through this because Destiny's not understanding why she's so upset about what she said about her having friendship Tourette's. Tisha's like, you're not hearing me, you're not getting it, and you're not seeing it. And then when I knew things was about to really go downhill is when they started talking about the past and how much they've been there for each other. You know, it gets real when Destiny's like, I was the first person, I was at your house before you were when Kiki passed. That's when I knew that we have entered raw territory. Okay. And at first, I was like, I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing plays out. Then at that moment, I was like, oh no, 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 no. This is y'all about to cut each other to the white meat. Okay, okay. And so the mug shots is brought up. I was there for you when you had your mug shots. They are screaming about each other, how much work it is to be friends with each other. How, I've had to be on the phone with you. I've been there when the mug shots came out. I was there when the people was calling you stupid. It it me I mean when I tell you Tisha is yelling from the bowels of her gut, that's really saying the same thing almost. Well, bowels and gut are two different things. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's going there. It's going there. I mean, it is a guttural, not to mention the addition of the sound effects, production. I love y'all. Meanwhile, they are going at it, okay? And it goes from wrong to wrong to okay to hell. Okay, I gotta go ahead and say it. It went to hell real quick. And it was actually at that point, it was sad to watch because the blows that they were throwing at each other were these jabs that are like, well, I was there for you when the people said this about you. Well, I was there for you when your mug shot came. It was that level of like, oh God, this is like, somebody call Shamia and Portia. Like it was like that. All right. Um, again, very sad to see it work out that way. And Leticia ends up storming out with her liquor bottle in her hand. And she's like, listen, go through your phone. Go through your phone and see how much of a friend I've been to you. See how much I've been there for you. Okay? You do that. And Destiny's like, well, when the people was calling you stupid, I was the one telling people you was intelligent. Said, y'all. See, this is why generally tend to work very, very hard to stay you got to stay in the argument. You do. You got to stay on target with what you're arguing about because when things start to go there, it is now not even about the thing that we're upset about. We have now entered territory that becomes difficult to come back from, and I think that's what I hate for the two of them. It's gone there, okay? And I don't think we've seen something like this on this. Well, I mean, we've seen it on this show before. Let me not say that, but I just felt like this was so raw. This was probably one of the rawest things that we have seen, I think, because of the way it went left at the end. Let me know what you guys think. Are you on a particular side? I'm not on a side in this one. I'm on the side of dang. Like I hope y'all can fix this because I think y'all are coming from two different places of hurt and it really has less to do with each other. I mean, it does have to do with each other. It's about how you two handle each other as a result of the things that you've been through with regards to reality TV and where you are now and how you show up for each other now as a result. And to be quite frank with you guys, I'll say this. You know, a lot of people I do see in the comments say things like, well, of course they would turn on each other. But that's always how reality TV works, right? And if there's no friction or tension, then you guys would call the show boring and you wouldn't be watching. So there's got to be something going on, right? So you can't say, well, they of course they was all going to turn on each other. Well, yeah, that's what happens on these shows. And if you haven't, have you been with us for the past decade? Because if you have, then you will know that this is how it works. Now, it's unfortunate because you want them to be able to get from A to B and then back again, but sometimes you just need some time, I guess. I don't know. So, again, let me know what y'all think. Good episode. Y'all already know what I could do with and without. So let's go ahead and fix those things, wrap those things up, and chop chop cheerio. But otherwise, it was a good episode. All right. Okay, so that's that. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you haven't already done so. Of course, we have our masterclass. I think this might be the last one for the month. I think on Tuesday, the link will be pinned in the first comment of this video, so you guys can tap into that. And yeah, oh, of course we've got a couple more spots for Bali as well. So make sure you guys are tapped into that. That's about it. I will catch you guys in the next video.